Guys, hi, how are you doing? My name is Dr. Elena Serenova. I hold a PhD in stem cell biology, and I've been passionate about nutrition, biohacking, and longevity for a long time. And in fact, I was actually so afraid of getting age that I actually started my own anti-aging supplement company. However, there is no such thing as cure for aging, and actually without healthy lifestyle, you're never going to expand your health span and your lifespan. A lot of you have been asking me what I'm actually eating on a daily basis. So I thought to kind of summarize this for you in this video and how I actually came up to this personalized solution basically. So what happened is that in 2019, I read a book by Dr. Bikwan that was called Why We Get Sick, which is an amazing book that I highly recommend for everyone to read. After you've seen a couple of things and how biology works and what insulin resistance does to your body, to your blood vessels, your metabolism, your liver, you actually cannot unsee it, right? So after reading that book, I started researching this further, and I actually went on a low carb diet. And don't get me wrong, as a scientist, I'm always looking for scientific evidence when it comes to lifestyle interventions that I'm actually implementing myself, right? So I've been vegan before, back in 2012. I've been vegan for about 3 years, and I realized that, you know what, this actually doesn't work for me. So I introduced meat back to my diet back around 2015, and I became an omnivore again. And then in 2019, I said, you know what, I'm going to try this low carb diet, because spiking your insulin at all times, spiking your blood glucose on a consistent basis, which basically is the foundation for atherosclerosis, is the foundation for damaging your blood vessels, because when your insulin spikes, your blood glucose spikes, what happens is that we do get reactive oxygen species produced within our arteries, and those are damaging the internal surface of our blood vessels. And also another interesting fact is that, you know, people are talking about not eating high fat foods, saying that this actually can lead to increased cholesterol levels and triglycerides. However, if you're not consuming carbohydrates, if you're not consuming foods that will actually spike your insulin, you're not going to get increased cholesterol levels. So fat by itself is not doing the damage. What's doing the damage is having high fat foods with carbohydrates, right? So I was looking into the biology of insulin and what it actually does to the body. So I said, you know what, I'm going to try a low carb diet. And I've been experimenting with a few variations of it, such as the ketogenic diet. And then in 2022, I actually had the opportunity to switch to a complete carnivore diet after reading the Carnivore Diet book by Dr. Sean Baker. Incredible resource, a lot of nutritional information in different carnivore foods and whatnot. And I basically limited my nutrition to 3 foods, which was red meat and eggs and cheese, and of course water and coffee, to be completely honest with you and transparent. That was my diet back in 2022. And what I realized is that I never had problem with maintaining my ideal weight. So my weight is between 50 and 52 kg for the past 20 years, basically ever since I've been a teenager. What happened is that I didn't see any fluctuations there in terms of the weight. However, the fluctuation in body composition and body fat composition is just remarkable. So my body runs so much more smoothly on a carnivore diet, on a low carb diet, and my body looks so much better because my love handles were basically gone, right? So love handles are basically visceral fat, which starts accumulating when you're actually already having your liver being food of fat deposits. And this occurs when you're consuming carbohydrates and your body basically says, you know what, it looks like we have a lot of glucose molecules floating around, so we actually don't have a reason to be breaking down this visceral fat that is accumulating between internal organs, because we can just keep on breaking down glucose for energy. So our body can run either on glucose and on carbohydrates, or it can run on ketones on a ketogenic diet. So that was the story there. And I'm currently at 19.9 body fat, which is in the ideal range for a fertile female of reproductive age. So the ideal range is probably anywhere between 16% and 22% for women. And anything under would start affecting negatively your reproductive hormones, because the body would basically be shocked and say, you know what, it looks like there is not enough nutrient availability around, so we shouldn't be reproducing. So then your reproductive hormones start dropping. However, if you maintain your body fat above 16% as a female, your reproductive hormones will be just fine. So this is also very important to monitor when you're experimenting with your diet. And as much as I would like to say that a carnivore diet or a low carb diet is ideal for everyone, I'm realizing more and more that there might be some individual variations for some people. So for example, there are people that are doing good on vegan diet, although I think that inevitably they will be getting vitamin deficiencies. However, this diet suits them more than some other diets. But this is a conversation for another time, because people actually confuse carnivore diet with omnivore diet sometimes. And omnivore diet in the Western society usually includes processed foods as well, which is not the proper carnivore diet, right? And the results that you can obtain on a carnivore diet. So those are two different things. And then lastly, someone also asked me about the different snacks that I'm having throughout the day. So when you're on a nutrient rich diet, such as a carnivore diet, you actually don't crave snacks during the day, because you're getting all the nutrients that you need from your meals. However, let's say I'm traveling, right? So, or I'm at a conference. So usually what I'm doing is I'm either having beef jerky as a snack, or I would have some cheese balls with me or some cheese strings. So basically high protein and high fat snacks. Now, how does my daily routine look like? Because I also incorporate intermittent fasting into my nutritional habits. So usually I would have my first meal of the day at around 11 a.m. or maybe midday, and I would start with 2-3 cherry tomatoes, so just a few grams of fiber. And the reason I'm doing it is because I still want to maintain the microbiome that can digest all the foods possible. Why is that? Because as much as I would love to stick to the 3-4 ingredient carnivore diet, I'm not living in the jungle or in isolation at the moment, although I've done that before and it was beautiful for a few months. But when you live, in a big city and you're socializing, you're going out with friends, what happens is that you would basically go out for dinner, and then there would be all kinds of foods there. So you kind of need a diverse microbiome in order to basically digest everything. So I start my morning with 2-3 cherry tomatoes, which gives me just enough fiber to maintain the microbiome that is responsible for digesting both fiber and carbohydrates. This means that if I want to misbehave at some point and basically have some carbohydrates somewhere, because I usually don't have them at home, I can do that and I won't have any digestive problems. And then my breakfast basically consists of a few eggs, 3 or 4 eggs with maybe some cheese and maybe some smoked salmon or some other kind of meat. And then for my second and last meal of the day, which is around 3 p.m., it would usually be a steak, and I would have different variations of steak. Rarely I would have some sort of other meat, to be completely honest with you. I just stick with either ribeye for a fatty steak, and sometimes I would I would have something like a flank steak, maybe if I want to have like a more lean cut of a meat just for variety. And then I would have some cheese with it as well, or another source of fat. Maybe I would have an avocado occasionally to introduce a bit more fiber if I feel like I would like to have some more fiber. And that's about it. So this is my nutrition. This is my usual nutritional habits. And most of the days I will not be having any more carbohydrates whatsoever. As a woman, my cravings during the month fluctuate. So this means that I actually would have cravings once or twice per month, and I would want to have some dessert or some bread. And when I do that, so there are two things. So it's very important to start your meal with some fiber. So again, it would be some salad or some cherry tomato to start with. And then I would have my main meal, which would still be protein or fat. And then I would have some berberine as well during my meal in order to regulate my blood sugar levels. And then I would have the dessert that I'd like to have, basically, or some bread. So that's about it. Like and subscribe, please. And I'll see you in the next one.